It's officially Arch Thursdays. You ready to start?
Let's do it. Let's bring them up.
All right, let's bring up Matt, bring up Nick from Arch. What's up,
Yo,
guys?
How's it going, y'all?
Going well. How you guys doing? Are you guys running around like chickens with your heads cut off since you're so busy?
It's been pretty crazy.
Man, y'all got some chill energy. I love it. It's like, when things get busy and stuff, you guys are like, let's attack it. But what's been going on with Arch lately? You guys are obviously behind the scenes building, but if you wouldn't mind, let's start with you, Nick. I know you kind of are in the CMO, so marketing side. What do you guys have for the audience in terms of new?
Yeah, I mean, last week we launched both our testnet projects that are the first apps on our platform, right? So that's pretty exciting. A lot of the users here and listeners here probably saw Saturn Dex as well as Funky Bit. So really, really good stuff there. And, some of the traction we've been seeing, just thousands and thousands of transactions being done. We have over 120, I think, was 140,000 people in the Arch program now, in the Archnaut program. So it's a good bit. I looked at the numbers this morning, so really good stuff. I think my favorite moment so far was Matt releasing a hype video around doing Saturn swaps to the tune of what song is that, Matt? I think you can sing us a few bars.
Don't Stop Me Now from Queen. Definitely not going to sing a few bars from Queen though.
Well, you can't hit those notes.
Definitely not.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. So let's kind of talk about Saturn's launch. I saw the tweet. I jumped in, started playing with it. Had some issues in the very beginning. Reached out to Hex, and he was doing customer service that day, which he got back to me right away. And it was just a problem with too many people at one time. And then after that, it was beautiful. I started making transactions and everything looked good. I started minting some runes, trading them, sucking the LP out, adding the LP back in. It was fun. It was obviously on testnet you can do this type of stuff without hurting anybody. But what was the experience from Arch's standpoint of that entire day?
Well, first off, I think Nick and I were also playing customer service just as much as Hex was, because we have to support and also we have a lot of our users, as Nick mentioned, that are trying to do their on-chain missions, getting that ore to keep farming the airdrop. So we have to hold some hands, try to get as much positive experience in this initial phase as possible. And as you mentioned, there were a couple of bugs, and we tried to get to them as quickly as possible. Some of them have already been, squashed, and then there's some remaining ones that we still are working on. But that's the point of testnet, right? We want to make sure that we're able to find all these edge cases out and break the chain or break the swap or the pool as much as possible, so we can find those bugs and get them addressed before we move to mainnet where there's real money at stake. And there are some pretty advanced features here that are working behind the scenes that adds to that sort of speedy UX that you saw. So this isn't exactly as easy as a copy and paste job. There's these techniques that we definitely needed this on-chain activity to monitor how it behaves on Bitcoin, and then make considerations and modifications from there as we start to see this stuff happen in real time. So that's where we're at now, and it's exciting to see the progress we've already made in just a week of launching this. And like Nick said, I was having a little bit of fun with these swaps and making some LP positions. So I made a couple of videos, and it is fast, it's fun, right? Like when you do an LP position, yes, your UTXOs are going to a multi-sig, but it doesn't feel like bridging, does it, Shizzy? Like it feels like Uniswap, where you're signing a smart contract, and your funds are no longer in your wallet, but it's managed by a smart contract, and there's not a lot of friction in between. So that's really cool to see, and I think that it's going to be a game changer when it moves to mainnet.
100%. And as a user, I could care less. I want to make those trades. I want to have fun with it. I want to add the LP, and then maybe whatever, how much time goes by, a couple blocks or whatever. I want to make sure that my assets are in my wallet, and that's everything that you guys kind of were hoping for. It seems like it happened, especially on day one.
Yeah, it's been great feedback. You know, there's still plenty of work to do, and I think what's really exciting is now it lights the fire under the rest of the developer community, because now they see what's possible and they know what's coming, and now they want to hurry up and get their programs ready to go. So in the last week, we've had 2 or 3 projects finish their builds. You know, finally get that confetti moment in the Telegram chat, where we've been going back and forth between the teams, helping them tinker with their issues, and auditing their code and their bugs, to the point where they finally are able to get that success message, finally, like, it's successfully deployed in the test net. So we've had a couple more. I think one exciting one that I can mention is sort of like that 404 type of concept, where you can go back and forth between fungibles and non-fungibles. So I know bitmaps are pretty excited about this type of utility. They're doing it right now on Merlin, but obviously you have to bridge your bitmap to Merlin in order to do that. So this would be something that's much more native, where you don't have to bridge your ordinal, but you could borrow or take out tokens that represent ownership of that ordinal, in the form of runes on the base layer, which is pretty cool.
Dude, like I'm just getting bullish on bitmaps right now, because this is like another part that's going to take them out of circulation. Are you kidding me? Like Merlin's already taken a good percentage out. Now Arch is going to take a percentage out. For the people that were like sad about bitmap going away, don't be sad, man. That I feel like that asset is safe. But Matt, for you guys, I feel like the Saturn Dex was kind of like that moment to where we were like, okay, guys, we have arrived. Now are we ready? Because it's about to come, right? And then you have people trying to break the the network, and all this guy over here trying to do it, because he literally, he tells me I'm trying to break it because I want them to do better, which is good, right? Do you
For
feel
sure.
like you guys were prepared for that, or do you feel overwhelmed, or do you feel like, okay, we prepared well, we're good, we want more?
I think we're pretty well prepared, although, this rollback mechanism that's fairly unique and innovative that we have, it broke on day one. And that's a result of, lots of fast transactions happening, lots of intra-block trading happening. And this is something that hasn't never been done before on Bitcoin. So there's no precedent for this. We have to learn quickly, iterate quickly, and a lot of Amin's banking experience in the banking industry helped with this, because they do a lot of this rollback stuff in real time at a very, very fast pace. So we have a lot of stuff cooking behind the scenes, but you're not able to see the progress or traction that the developer team is really putting in the hours right now. You will be able to when we finally ship mainnet, but a lot of that kind of gets taken for granted. When you don't get to see that kind of stuff, you see the same looking swap on the front end, but it's just going to work, and that's really what we're going for.
Yeah.
I think this was something that I was also thinking a lot about, just because I was seeing like the messages in the Discord and doing a lot of the customer service, and to be honest, even to this day, we are doing a lot of that in the Discord, and the big thing I think people don't always realize the difference between like launching a project and launching an ecosystem, right? That's going to support Bitcoin like this, is that you have so many partners at play, and thankfully, like, we're all aligned. I mean, Saturn is like super tight with us. They even sent one of their top engineers to be in Morocco with Amin to like work out a lot of these technical issues over the last few months, like, and just to make sure that they were like ahead of the curve, right? So like, we're all really aligned and we're all in the same conversations. But here, some of the challenges, it's a combination of 3 things. It's Arch, it's Saturn, and then it's also Maestro, our infra provider, right? And so when you have that main teams together, obviously you've got to coordinate, and even if just one issue comes up on one side of it, the whole thing might be a little buggier. So that's exactly what testnet is for. I think when you ask like, were we ready for it? I think that we were ready for it, but what we were ready for is the same way Elon Musk is ready for, a SpaceX launch. I mean, Matt's pretty great. Like, maybe he's up there, but like, what we're putting out there is the idea, though, that, for Elon, it's not just about like whether or not he lands a rocket. Half the time, it's like, it doesn't really matter if he lands or not. Did he get the data he needed to improve and iterate, right? And so for us, we did everything that we could to have this ready for launch, but understanding it's more important to get it out there and actually start testing it, so you fix those errors faster. Just like Elon can launch a rocket for a fraction of the cost that NASA does, where NASA tries to do everything perfectly and then launch it. Elon is like, no, let's like get this like testable, and then let's get it out there. And that's exactly what we've done. But you can already see how much it's improving. And even today, we're launching an update that's gonna, just iron out any issues. So yeah, we're really excited about it.
Yeah.
Nick brought up a pretty good point here. There's just a lot of variables at play here. It's not just Saturn. It's not just Arch. There's other players involved. Like you mentioned, Maestro. If I could draw a comparison back to the early days of DeFi on Ethereum, like it wasn't until the Alchemies and the Infuras and all of these RPC providers started to pick up the slack and hold everyone accountable. So right now we have one RPC provider and one mempool indexer, and that's Maestro. But we've had a tremendous amount of inbound interest from other RPC infrastructure providers who say we want to also give developers that option. So that's going to really hold Maestro accountable to say, we got to, make sure that the developer experience and the infrastructure that we're providing really truly works, and it's fast, and it gives good developer experience. So also like Blast, for example, on day one only had one RPC provider. The chain went down a few times. And then of course, over time and more like developer activity, user activity, it justified other RPC providers to come in and say, hey, we want to support you guys too.
Oh, I think you muted yourself.
Yeah, his headphones probably died.
Okay.
This might actually be a good time to bring in Maestro if we have them in the waiting room. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask one question. I'm going to bring them up after this question though, because you could probably answer this a little bit too. And it's Matt was talking about like how you guys are going through these bumps and bruises, but also many wins and stuff like that. So if you look at your approach with these network approvers and off-chain offline computation and stuff, other people are trying to do this as well, right? But something like, let's say Tap, right? They're utilizing the ICP network to do it and all this stuff. So they kind of have to use what they have. But you guys are custom building this like step by step, right? So would you say it's like hard to just like have someone sneak over and be like, oh, I'm just going to fork what Arch is doing? Or would you say like it's so custom? You guys are learning still, so they can't really do that. And would you even care if there was like a network of what you guys do, to kind of build that up, like I guess another layer of network, because that could bring more users in general. So if you can maybe answer that, Nick or Matt, whoever is available. Okay, so he lost the.
Matt, you're muted.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, I'll take
it.
I mean, competition is like natural and healthy for these types of growing, ecosystems. In our corner of Bitcoin DeFi, it's good to keep pushing the boundaries and trying new things. Now, when it comes to doing something similar to what we're doing, it may look similar, like it uses a multi-sig on Bitcoin. They do some type of off-chain computation and consensus and ship that data back. But there's a lot of like advantages that you get out of building the VM from scratch, from the ground up, for its specific use in adding this scalable programmability to Bitcoin. Now, in ICP and Near and Stacks, even when they were first developed, they weren't considering this final implementation of programmability on Bitcoin. In fact, ICP and Near wasn't thinking about Bitcoin at all when they were created. Stacks obviously was. But you're going to have some limitations at scale and in user experience that we're able to make complete concessions to, like these rollback mechanisms and reorg resistant guarantees and atomic swap guarantees, these types of things that ICP and Near cannot offer. That's something that developers are ultimately going to have to look at and say, do I want to build additional rollback mechanisms or a reorg type of concessions or mitigations in my program, or do I want to just go on Arch where it's done for me? And from that standpoint, you're going to have a lot better of a developer experience and capability of scaling in an eloquent way. So I think that we're in a good position from that standpoint.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, we benefit from the work that's already been done by so many others, and I'm sure others will benefit from the work that we've done, right? But when you look at Stacks, for example, like someone who we think have done a really as good a job as you can do in terms of like having an L2 that's actually aligned with the Bitcoin ecosystem, we're just going a step further and actually making it much more Bitcoin native and much more composable, right, with Bitcoin, and not having to bridge in. But the good thing about having them already is like we announced our partnership with BitFlow earlier this week, right? And their project has had a lot of success on Stacks, right? And so having, they were the ones who set the pavement of having developers building on Bitcoin and, this familiarity and, seeing projects like that, be able to have a space to grow and learn. And now they can benefit from what Arch is going to provide. And there's going to be a lot of, syncopation between different ecosystem partners. So the value is that obviously we benefit from those before us, but in terms of like just being able to fork us, it's like highly technical, highly complicated, and sure it's possible, but that's part of the name of the game with like open source projects, which all of these blockchain projects are, and that's what we believe in. So right now, obviously we're keeping some things, as we like make sure it's perfect and get out into the world. But as soon as we launch, like it's all going to be open, decentralized, and sure people can, but I'd encourage them try and catch us if you can, right? So
love it.
It's kind of like good luck, right? Good luck. We know our day-to-day looks like good luck. So I'm sure that's how you guys feel. But I have a question. So obviously, you guys are bringing on Saturn, really kind of opened everyone's eyes to potentially launch in testnet when you guys are you guys seeing a lot of teams come and asking like when can they launch testnet, and what does the next month for you guys look like with testnet launches?
Yeah, like when it comes to building on Arch, it's a very incremental and step-by-step process. Even if you have the capabilities to build right now, we are a Rust-based VM. There are some UTXOs and PSBTs part of your program inputs and smart contract inputs that need to be considered. So coming from Ethereum or Solana, it's not just hey, I'm able to deploy today. There's a slight learning curve. And over time, with the developer documentation, guides, videos, and stuff that our DevRels are making, that shortens that process a little bit. But for right now, the first step for developers is getting familiar in a local environment where you're not having to wait for block times to keep on changing things and tweaking things and stuff like that. So that's a more developer-friendly area to learn how to build your program. And then once you graduate on from the local environment, then you move on to testnet and finally figure out how to deploy. And then you're bouncing data off of nodes. You're messing around with consensus in the Arch network. So that it requires your program to be pretty, battle ready at that point. So this is kind of the step-by-step way that you get all the way to deploying on testnet. And right now we have, 5 or so that have successfully deployed. Saturn and FunkyBit are the ones that have, gone the furthest with that, all the way to now they have a front end that hooks up to their smart contracts. It's, they have a testnet campaign and all that. So these other projects that have successfully deployed, that's their next step, is getting a website, a front end, and putting together their testnet campaigns. And then there's a whole bunch of other people in line that are all trying to get ready to be deployed. They all know that they want to, like Nick mentioned, BitFlow, they've been building, they haven't finished their build, but they're building, and soon we'll have an aggregator type of product that can pull best rates from all over the ecosystem. So that'll be fantastic. And then I would expect by January, there's going to be anywhere from, 40 to 50 different projects that have finished their builds and hopefully deployed in the testnet by then, because there is a big bag of incentives to have their apps launched by January. So there's going to be some hackathons that lead into that. There's going to be obviously the testnet incentives that we're providing some of these teams right now, but the requirement is they have to be deployed by January. So we should see a lot more traction leading up to mainnet launch at the end of January, which is the target date as of right now.
That's awesome. Super, super exciting stuff. We're super excited to, see everything in action. Obviously, you got to go through the testnet process and all that stuff. But I'd like to bring up Maestro, which is we Shizzy and myself know a little bit about them in terms of like infrastructure players and stuff like that. So let's bring up Davis and Marvin from Maestro. How are you fellas doing?
Doing good. Yes. Thanks to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for
spending time doing great. Today. Thank you.
Awesome. So for the audience that doesn't know who you guys are, right? Like I said, Shizzy and I, we do a ton of research. So I think we've been on a call with y'all before, but could you explain to the audience what, Maestro is and what you guys are bringing to Arch and the Bitcoin ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely. In simple terms, we are a infrastructure provider, right? For helping people building applications on the blockchain. And our core competency, right, is really specializing on UTXO blockchains. So in the same way that like Alchemy and QuickNode, are powering, hundreds of apps on the EVM chains from Ethereum to Polygon. We don't really have that much infra providers on Bitcoin. At least it's very early. And it makes the development experience difficult, right? It either kind of like creates a high barrier to entry or creates this long development time for people to get from like an idea to live application, right? So the goal with Maestro is how do we reduce that development time and really allow more people to build on Bitcoin. And by doing that, we provide really like natively built services, APIs, developer tooling that works really well with Bitcoin and kind of like is tailored to the needs of what it takes to build on Bitcoin. And then from there, then we can expand that platform, right? And Arch was this natural expansion of like offering additional tools and APIs for the Arch builders. The nice thing with Arch is when you build an application on their VM, right? It's kind of like in between Bitcoin and Arch, right? You're still interacting with the L1. You then extend it to execute your smart contracts. So it's a very good way for projects already on the L1 that want that additional level of functionality or programmability to extend their platform to then run some of their contracts on Arch. So we partner with them in the testnet. We're like working with Saturn, we're working with FunkyBit, we're working with a lot of projects there. And so they're under the hood using both our Bitcoin APIs and services and our Arch APIs.
Awesome. That's awesome. So like I said, we've done our research on you guys. We know that you guys have that experience with like Cardano and other UTXO chains. Is this your first time to build, APIs and infrastructure tooling for like an off-chain compute, like verifying network type of, I guess, solution? Is this the first time? And also, is it more difficult to take this approach than your standard UTXO?
I think, yeah, that kind of network, kind of external VM, first time we're doing this. We've been running infrastructure, blockchain infrastructure for 2-3 years. So it's really running infra is really our core competency. So although we really specialize in UTXOs and that's really our niche, we can run infrastructure for EVM and all kinds of VM. We really have the skills to do that. And so the more interesting bit is that joining Arch so early, right? We're kind of like the first early adopters, and so we're work very closely with the team. And so the Arch node actually is constantly improving, constantly changing, right? And the team are pushing new updates, new functionalities, new optimization, like basically on a weekly basis. So the key part here is us just working very close, embedding with their devs and be able to like, deploy upgrades very quickly and being very reactive and making sure that what we offer is always as close as possible to like the latest version of the code. So I think actually that kind of makes it fun, right, to be so early and kind of help this project mature and get it ready. And then working with Saturn, which is the first pretty projects using all these pieces to build a live application and have this application work, and people get really impressed by the user experience. And that's the goal, right? It's like, how do we create a better user experience on Bitcoin? The way it works under the hood doesn't really matter as much for the user. It's more like, can you do on Bitcoin you couldn't do before? And when you see that and you see like, wow, we can do swaps, we can use pools, we can have this like real-time feedback, then it kind of like makes all the work worth it, because you're like, okay, we've got something special here and we just have to keep pushing it, because it's really kind of like pushing the space forward and creating like potentially a new wave, a new generation of DeFi on Bitcoin. We'll see applications that just we haven't seen before.
Yeah, Yagobi, going back to your like initial question, is like, has this ever happened before? I don't think it's ever been needed before, because you have blockchains that are built for programmability like Ethereum. You have blockchains that are built for very fast programmability like Solana. Cardano is a UTXO chain that split off from Bitcoin, right, Marvin? Like to focus on more programmable things with UTXOs. So this is the first time in history that it's ever been needed to try to bolt on a VM for general purpose programmability on another blockchain, right? Because Bitcoin was obviously created first for perfect peer-to-peer, digital money, right? So it is completely backwards to everyone else's model, which is, money first, network second. Everyone else's network first eventually builds, good money. And so this is the first time that in history that we've ever needed a, solution such as this. But in terms of RPC providers, I think like for the layman out there that don't understand exactly what they're doing, is for developers, I mentioned some of the challenges and the friction that they're dealing with already as it exists, learning new code, learning how to build programs and all that stuff. On top of that, in order to communicate with the blockchain, you have to like have some mechanism, right? You can run your own node, which is another, hassle to deal with, which costs money and stuff like that. Or you can subscribe to, an infrastructure provider like Maestro, who allows them to communicate with the blockchain in a much easier way. So they can send their commands and they can talk to Arch and they can talk to Bitcoin through these RPC endpoints that effectively have those nodes running for the developers. So it really just simplifies things. It saves time and effort and makes it more reliable of a developer experience when you have a third party putting out these tools.
And this is, I guess I'd just add, like, this all is like pretty typical of a new network, right? So, especially with the testnet environment, you can't launch with like full, redundancy or like full, consistency sometimes. But that's something that very quickly will be solved as we get more providers and also just more projects in the ecosystem.
Yeah. I think just one thing to chime in here. Reliability is really like the most important thing for a provider, right? Like we compare what we're doing to Amazon Web Services for Web 2, right? Like it's a subscription. You never want your database to go down, and you always need to have access. And most importantly, as we're seeing with Saturn, as we're going to see with more and more projects coming to Arch, there's going to be a ton of scale. So the infrastructure provider needs to be able to handle so much throughput coming through it. So that's where I would say that we are really prioritizing and focusing, and our specialty is that we are the only UTXO provider, infrastructure provider that's really built for scale. So we're super excited to see more and more people coming into the Arch ecosystem, and we really have built the bandwidth to handle that capacity as more and more users come and adopt it.
Yeah, and that's one of the that's the main reason why we went with Maestro for an infrastructure provider, because it's not that we didn't have interest from other RPC providers from the Ethereum ecosystem, which is more where RPC providers live, and Solana as well. But they don't have experience with UTXOs. You have the Alchemies, the Anchors, all these RPC quality teams, by the way, but they have no idea really how to navigate and scale with the UTXO based blockchain like Bitcoin, and how to work around that. And as the Maestro guys can probably tell you, there's a heavy feature on UTXOs within the design of Arch. It's pretty much the basis of our hybrid system of accounts. It's what anchors all the state transitions to Bitcoin, which really gives us a lot of those advantages that I spoke about before that blockchains like ICP can't do, because they don't take UTXOs into consideration when they do programmability. So it really was essential for us to have an RPC provider that intimately understands these things, so that we can scale together and everyone else can kind of follow their lead.
Yeah, exactly. And you, both of y'all's teams are actually learning together as things happen, right? Obviously they're building these tool sets, you guys are building the network. So I think it works out perfectly. And I love the fact that like innovation of technology in the crypto space has come back to Bitcoin. So now we're looking at the EVM, the Solanas as kind of the older tech, which is weird. It's kind of circled back to Bitcoin, but awesome, man. I'm excited about Maestro, and I think this is great for builders. If you're a builder out there, and you're listening to this is going to make your lives easier, because I know Maestro's just getting started with the Bitcoin ecosystem with tool sets and stuff like that. So I would love to bring up our next and last guest, and we're all going to just hang out up here because his project sounds really fun. The name of it and just alone sounds really fun. But let's bring up Andrew from Funky Bit. What is up, Andrew? How are you, sir?
Hi, guys. Great to be here. Thanks.
Yeah,
And
thanks for
I'm
joining us.
happy you like the name. I like to joke that the name is the best thing about the project, but I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, at first I was like, "What is this? Is this like NFT project and stuff?" And then I started to realize this is kind of like a pump fund model for Arch, right? Is am I right or am I wrong there?
Yeah, I think so. The architecture, the technology underlying it, which I'm happy to go into, is more. It's a more general purpose cross-chain technology, tying Bitcoin natively together with other chains like Base. But when we were thinking about which go-to-market product would be the one that could catch fire easily in this environment, we decided to go with a really high-performance meme coin launchpad that uses stablecoin liquidity pools, USDC.
Love that.
Or
Could you kind of break down for the audience like what Funky Bit is? Like we know that's this meme coin launch pad, but like I guess get into the details, like if you guys have a bonding curve and stuff like that, as much as you can. Obviously, if you want to hold some stuff to the chest, that's understandable.
No, it's all open source anyway. So yeah. So there it is. Great, fantastic. So maybe I could just touch upon briefly if it's the architecture of what we've built, and then go into some of the details on the product. Details for the launchpad. So what we've done is we deploy smart settlement contracts to a variety of different chains. And importantly, when we were looking at Bitcoin and we wanted to do something that was native with no bridging or no wrapping and a good user experience, of course, we met the Arch team and realized that was the way to go. And those contracts speak to one another through a trust minimized set of off-chain sequencers, which are very high performance, and users send signed orders into the sequencer, which matches them, and then basically signs the matches, sends messages back to the smart contracts, which are entirely self-custodial or non-custodial for the users. And so, in many ways, the meme coin launchpad is going to live on Arch, and it is going to be very much a pump fun type model. One of our followers asked us the other day, when pump.funk? I said, I'm using that. And funk, yeah. So what we will do is we'll have a basically an initial etching and pre-mining transaction. And at that point, rather than doing an open mint, all of the pre-mined, we're talking about runes here, will be sent to a UTXO on Arch, and that UTXO will be subject to a bonding curve. And so because it's on Arch and not on the L1, you don't have to worry about being sniped in the mempool, and it's instantaneous. And so it's very high speed, it's very, very low cost, no MEV, and there are other benefits as well. For example, if you look at Casey's rune launch, basically users paid away millions of dollars to the miners, which, I mean, we have to support the miners, but I'm not sure that's the way we should be doing it all the time. And in Funky Bit's launchpad, basically users will capture all of that excess value up the bonding curve rather than paying it all in extractable value to miners.
So that'll basically go into an LP pool, correct?
That's correct. Exactly.
Love it.
That's awesome.
It looks really good. I love what you guys did with this. Are you guys going to be on testnet maybe first couple months of January or next year?
They are on testnet.
You're on
testnet.
Testnet.
They're one of the.
Well, sorry.
They're one of the few. Go ahead.
It's worth saying though, and Andrew can explain more, but they're on testnet now with a version of their product, but the meme coin launchpad is coming soon. So so Andrew, if you want to go into that, because I'm excited. I'm excited about the use case with USDC, especially being able to bring that over. So go ahead, take it away.
Before Andrew gets into it, I just want to let you know Shizzy's going to be listening to you intently because he wants to farm points because he thinks everything is incentivized. But anyways, go ahead.
No. I like testing projects. This is really cool. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So Nick, thanks very much. So we were on testnet on day one, and we've already executed on testnet about 90,000 cross-chain swaps on testnet. So it's going great, and really hats off to the Arch team on making it all happen from day one. So the testnet right now includes the cross-chain swapping piece. So right now you can go to our testnet and swap Bitcoin for USDC and go back the other way, and you can do the whole thing in less than a millisecond. So our mean time to do a cross-chain transaction where everything settles natively is 400 microseconds, so less than 1 millisecond. And the piece that Nick mentioned that we're hopefully going to be getting out in the next few weeks is the actual launchpad piece with the bonding curve and the pre-mine going over to the UTXO on Arch. Certainly it's going to be done, by the end of this month. It's just a matter of when. And so we'll get plenty of time on testnet on that before we go live on mainnet. And whenever we're going live on mainnet, whenever Matt tells us to.
So I'm actually looking at it right now, and it actually looks amazing. I love the UI. And you can, to Yagobi's point, I can start earning some of these funky bits.
Please.
This is pretty cool. Could you explain?
And you earn the Arch points as well too while you do this.
Oh, double farm.
Double incentivized.
Yeah.
You weren't totally wrong about everything being incentivized, because Saturn has their own program as well. So it's starting to look like if you just do anything on our testnet project, you're gonna be eating good. Let's just say that.
I love it.
Wow.
Yeah, and just as you were looking at the dashboard there, so we have users, of course, connect using their Bitcoin wallet, and then there's a EVM wallet that's required just first time to download 10,000 USDC from base, and then either wallet will work, and you can, you're good to go.
Gotcha. Love it. Andrew, from a builder's perspective, that is in this test net, and then obviously in the builders group chats and all that stuff, what has that experience been like for you? Do you feel supported? Do you feel like even if you are supported, it gets busy and you got to kind of work through things? Like, what has the experience been for you?
Yeah, well, I'm telling the story about how I avoided you for
so if you're going to talk bad about Matt and the Archers right now, no, I'm just kidding.
Getting a hold of Matt initially proved to be very difficult. We were very excited about his project, and given the ardor with which we chased him, we were worried. But him avoiding us, we were worried. We were more excited about his project than he was, but it turned out not to be the case. But at the risk of complimenting the guys on this call too much while I'm on with them, the support has been amazing. I would say, as Matt noted, it's not a typical development environment for someone who's just doing an EVM copy pasta, and it does require somewhat of a commitment. I think when we saw what was going on with the team and the potential, we went all in on it. I think as these guys will commit, but I think we had total, reciprocity. We super responsive, very interested in getting us up and running any hour of the day. It's really been a super great experience. And I would assume, maybe we got a little special treatment because we were early, but I think that it's probably going to get other developers are going to get the same sort of experience.
Yeah. That's going to be amazing for, a builder ecosystem to really solidify there. For Maestro, are you guys working with Funky Bit, or are you guys kind of looking at them as a case study of tool sets that you guys are building?
Yeah, we've met with Andrew, right? And we shared kind of our documents and APIs. So I think right now they're just exploring what we have. Maybe we should probably check in this week or next, but yeah, we love what we're doing. And we're talking to everyone that's building on Arch, and I think that they're aware of what we offer. And we're adding constantly new things. And maybe a interesting story is that we were building this mempool rune indexing API for another customer on L1, and it actually ended up helping Saturn a lot, right? So we're also still discovering clever ways and new ways to best use Arch. And for people that don't know, mempool APIs is where we start indexing runes and ordinals at the mempool level for unconfirmed transactions. So the mempool is where unconfirmed transactions kind of sit before they get into the get mined. And actually, a lot of clever things can be done with UTXO there, or you can chain transactions in the mempool because it's almost like seeing into the future, right? So if you rank those transactions by fee, you can get a sense of which transactions are about to make it on chain. And so we saw that there was demand, for example, even from Liquidium, that they're like, how do we index the runes and the ordinals for this unconfirmed transaction? So we started building this in parallel as we're building Arch and kind of pushing for that new API service. And turns out that Saturn actually said, hey, this is exactly what we needed. And they leveraged that in their first demo right now, where they're able to use these unconfirmed UTXOs in the mempool and chain multiple transactions together and really kind of like create this very responsive swap experience. So I think that was a really cool story of showing how we're so early. Everyone's kind of building and pushing the boundary of what we think is the best thing, and we're finding new ways to combine all these pieces together to create better applications. And I think more of these discoveries are going to be made in the future. And so, yeah, I welcome anyone to like start building, start playing with things and see what you can build. I think there is still a lot of low-hanging fruits for cool things to do.
Yeah. That's a perfect example too of being in early and different parts of the ecosystem learning together, or just kind of being in the right place at the right time. I think Saturn benefiting from that is awesome. But man, Shizzy has his finger up. So what's up?
So yeah, so we just have a question from Yashir. It's about the Arch network. So it can provide API for the call request from the wallet related to relevant data such as transaction count and all the queries too on testnet and mainnet. Anyone take this?
Is that more of a you question, Marvin, for API stuff, or is he asking something specifically here to us?
I think he's asking, can there be an API that provides call requests from wallet related to relevant data, such as transaction counts?
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
all the queries as well on
Yeah,
testnet and
Marvin,
mainnet?
don't we expose API endpoints that do various fetching of data related to the accounts and tokens within those programs, et cetera, right?
Yeah. So you can check out. We have at least I think 15 different APIs that's pulling data from the Arch node, from program to block info to transaction counts. If there are data that you need that we don't offer, right? We're actually collecting a lot of user requests, and we're constantly like adding new things and kind of expanding that. So yeah, check out what we have. And then if it doesn't fit your need, just contact us and we'll try to add it to the API reference.
And I'm going to ask maybe a dumb question as the marketing person in the room here, but this is also the kind of information that eventually would be partly provided through like our blockchain explorer and things like that, which is also something that we'll have that you guys are working on, right?
Yeah, that's also an exciting thing. So we're working on a Arch blockchain explorer in parallel, and you're able to see both Arch blocks and Bitcoin blocks, and then how transactions on Bitcoin are linked to transaction on Arch, and then be able to see all the transaction information, so the instructions and the programs. It's going to make it super easy to kind of explore and get a better intuition of like how these two networks work hand in hand very closely, and how your assets, right, are able to be triggered from one address to the next by running these programs. So we're very excited about this Explorer. I think it's just going to help a lot of people kind of get a great sense of what's going on. And it's just a necessary thing to have, right, for any of these new networks. So I think we're very close. We're like actually the last step of integrations. We've got like a very nice UI for it. Should be coming pretty soon. I don't want to give a date because we're always like optimizing little things, but yeah, expect an Explorer to come for Arch probably soon.
Yeah,
We'll
this
that.
this piece is like hugely important, because if you guys like go on Ethereum or Solana on Etherscan or SoulScan, you're able to click on a transaction. You can see all the different things that are happening under the hood, even inspecting down to the smart contract level sometimes, right? But when these transactions are happening on the base layer through Arch, as far as Bitcoin is concerned, as far as mempool.space is concerned, it looks like just a peer-to-peer transaction from the multi-sig to the end user. But what's happening under the hood, there's a lot more context, and that's what this block explorer is going to give you. Like, it's going to say this is a swap that happened from this wallet to this wallet on Saturn, for this specific asset and stuff like that. So it's an integral piece, I think, not just for developers, but also for users to understand what's happening with all these assets being shuffled around.
Yeah. And just to let you guys know, the audience is really enjoying the conversation here. Jordan Maple says this conversation would be great at Miami. I think he's talking about Art Basel, which I'm not sure if you guys have any representatives there, but and then also there was a couple other. Mike Bennett says for a software developer like himself, diving first into blockchain dev and the Bitcoin network, this is an exciting time, amazing tools to get familiar with. Yes, Mike, he's one of our regular audience members. If you're interested, I would say, reach out to this team, and Maestro's definitely going to probably have a tool that you can utilize, but definitely exciting conversation to have. And
if you want to
go ahead, Nick.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, if you want to reach out to us and you go to our website, there's a type form link. It says like join our incentivized testnet. You can reach out there. I think we can also share the link hopefully in the YouTube comments. I can't for some reason, but if you guys can do that, that way people can reach out.
Josh says Maestro, as I understood, is something like Alchemy on Bitcoin, right? That's a perfect comparison.
That's right.
Yep. And Shizzy will get those links in there. So anybody that is a guest of ours, just shoot over the links that you want in the live notes for YouTube, and for the audience, visit that section so you can get linked up with these guys. It's definitely amazing conversation. And so what we typically do in our segments like Arch Thursdays is, we're going to wrap things up, but we want to give each team kind of a last, final word, something maybe the audience or community can get excited about with the project or anything. And I'll start with Andrew with FunkyBit.
Thanks a bunch. Great being here. Really great being here with the Arch guys and the Maestro guys. Yeah, I would say, look, picture's worth 1,000 words. If you're interested in what we're doing, if you're interested in low friction, high speed meme coin trading, if you're interested in rapid, super high performance cross-chain swaps that settle natively, I think the best thing to do, really be great, go to funkybit.fun. Give it a whirl, and give us some feedback. We are super open right now. That's what we're all about, is getting feedback from users. That's I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Love it.
I would love to do a full episode with you. That's what we do here. We do full episodes as well. But you're definitely every Arch Thursday you're definitely invited back. But definitely want to do a full episode with you. Kind of really break down your site and everything you guys are building and what it's going to look like in the future as well.
That would be amazing.
Awesome. All right. We got 615 people watching and listening in. So no pressure here, Maestro. You guys are next. So any final words for the audience here?
Simply like a message to builders. Maestro at the core, our mission is to make building on Bitcoin easier. Really, our reason to exist is to make this ecosystem grow and make it like easier for people to build. So if you're a builder and you don't want to reinvent the wheel and spend hours, building things that we've already built that can scale to millions of users, try out our platform. We have a free tier, and you can build a lot with that free tier. You can really play around and get your app to the next level, and be sure to building on solid grounds that when your app becomes popular and you hit 1 million users, it will scale elastically and reliably. And so we've done it for hundreds of applications in the past already, and so we have a very solid platform. So come try Maestro and let's build together.
Let's go. Davis, any final words?
I mean, I can't really follow up with that. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Listen to what Marvin said just now.
Yeah. I guess what I would say is, man, we hit 100K yesterday.
Let's go. That's what I was looking for that, actually. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, man, that's awesome. 100,000 Bitcoin.
And I can't, emphasize enough how bullish I am about this ecosystem, how bullish I am about Arch, how bullish I am about stable coins coming to Bitcoin, that we have programmability coming to Bitcoin.
Let's go.
So I think this ecosystem is going to explode. Obviously, I'm biased about Maestro, but we're building to scale. So when this thing does, we're going to be ready for it. Arch is going to be ready for it. So higher. Let's go.
Let's go.
And same thing with you guys. I'm gonna toss our Calendly in there, get you guys booked for a full episode. I think that would be amazing. Learn your backgrounds, learn everything you guys built on Cardano and everything you're building on Arch. I feel like that would really help the audience and have a video for you guys to share if you guys need to show people, what you got, exactly what you guys are building. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll let Nick handle most of the call to action sign off, but I'll just add on to what Marvin said as a call to the developers. We have a tremendous amount of incentives bucketed for developers who are going to be early to this ecosystem and building. So leverage the Maestro team, leverage the Arch team to your advantage so that you can be early and get some of those incentives, because there's no way that we can be successful as an ecosystem if we can't breed some blue chips, which implies that we're going to be making some millionaires out there out of you. So the guys that are, proactive and want to build something truly great on Bitcoin, hit us up.
Yep. Yeah, all right, awesome. Nick, CMO in the house, sign us off.
See, I don't know how to follow that up. That was great. Listen, I mean, Matt covered it from from one direction. I'll just say this, that I think what's so unbelievably exciting about this is that you get to do brand new, first mover type stuff on something that has a $2 trillion market cap today, on something that has the name recognition and brand out of all blockchains. It all comes back to Bitcoin, right? And being able to do that, if that doesn't get you hype, I don't know what will. But in addition to that, it's the fact that you can take these proven concepts and you can build it here. I mean, Saturn is called Saturn. Like, everyone here knows Jupiter on Solana, and you can see how the user experience is doing the same thing for runes and ordinals. And if your imagination can go out there and say, okay, what can I build either that's been done successfully or, with some fun twists, like what Funky Biz is doing, what others are doing, like, it's just such a crazy asymmetric opportunity for developers right now. And so, my job as a marketer is to shill, but like at the same time, my background as a journalist, where I used to be like an equal opportunity asshole, and I just, criticize whatever I saw. My job was the truth, right? And so I still have that. So I wouldn't be saying this if it weren't true. The fact that and people can see it, right? So that's the opportunity. That's how exciting it is. That's why we're all building in this space. And I think the audience here understands how special Bitcoin is, especially on days like this and after a night like last night. So just super bullish and excited to work with all y'all.
Yeah. Tell them how people can participate in the testnet, Nick.
Oh yeah, see, I missed the CTA. There we go. All right, so you can participate in the testnet as well, and that's probably the best way to test these apps and get a sense of what it's going to be like on Bitcoin through Arch very soon. You can do that at dashboard.arch.network. So that's a great opportunity, is to go through our program. It's called our Archnaut program, and you'll rise through the ranks. You'll earn some XP. You'll also earn some Pwrd, which is our points program, and most importantly, you'll get some exposure to Saturn, to FunkyBit, to all these great apps. And also, if you're in our Discord, like, you're going to get exposure to what's happening sooner than anyone else, and get that extra alpha that hopefully will allow you to benefit the most from this program and from building on Arch. So super excited for people to join that. And we're also doing the little giveaway here, right, with BDC. So yeah. I don't know if we already, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're actually gonna do that here in a second, but cool. we got to get the names on the wheel and do all that stuff, but it'll be live. But I wanted to kind of allow you guys to sign off, and it's been amazing Arch Thursdays. I love the conversation today. We'll continue it next Thursday. So if you're watching, guys, one of the best parts of when we start a reoccurring weekly segment is we get to see these ecosystems grow from like an infant to a full grown ecosystem. And so you guys get to join us with that journey. Shizzy, did you have something to say?
Yeah, guys, just remember, there was a 17-year-old on Solana who used Jupiter. He used it every single day, and he made millions of dollars. Hey, I'm just saying, right? You can be 17 years old and just testing things and just being somebody in the community, and you can get rich in this ecosystem, especially in something early like Arch, especially something early in like FunkyBit. And with these guys building with Maestro, man, you guys are really building the foundation of an ecosystem, and it's just really special to see, especially this early.
Yep. And I do want to thank Arch and Matt and Nick and all the builders here, but Arch about the $1,000 billion cat giveaway. We're going to be doing that after we've seen these guys off live, but thank these guys because they're the ones that are doing the giveaway here. But for you guys, we want to say thank you for an amazing Arch Thursdays, and we'll see you guys next Thursday.
Thanks, guys. Great.
Peace.
We OG, or no OG. You're not bullish enough, yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the or no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload, yeah. Experts on reload, yeah. You're not bullish enough, yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the or no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload. Experts on reload. Mempool getting hot. Everybody wanna rock, ayy. Rooms is coming, everybody on a knot, ayy. It's a nuisance, Ordinal revolution, ayy. Ordinal revolution. Yo, it's my guy for real, bro. Got friends right now. Yo, BRC 420, bro. Yo, that shit on fire, bro. Imagine if he in here. Yeah, like it in the steel. Murder. I got balls of steel. Nookies on the field. Yeah, this shit for real. With no calls, I get so far. Got 100 phone calls that I go hard, and they gon' love me. Smoke weed, huddle back. I get shiesty. Where my Bitcoin looking lovely. All this Satoshi's nothing above me.